Whew. All right. Here we go. More voices. And what am I doing? It's later in the day, Saturday. Sarah and I went to town, did some shopping, got myself a new little toy to put I got one of these things. And it clamps, pretty tough clamp. And I'm going to clamp that onto my fishing rod so that it'll hold the GoPro off to the side with the fishing rod. That'll be a cool angle. And I just got to catch a fish. That's kind of neat. Try that out, and I could also clamp that onto my quad. Yeah, kind of cool to come across that today. We had to go get Sarah a new laptop finally. Hers is caved in. Oh yeah, that's another thing too. So, for all who were inquiring about fishing this summer, as I said, I mentioned earlier, she wasn't going to answer any of those until later on, until I confirmed that, yep, it's going to go down. So, yep, it's going to go down. So, if you inquired about fishing with Sarah, you will be answered in the next few days. Okay? Also, on the fishing news, we have potential two boats if need be, on the West Coast. They can take up to 8 people at a time, I believe, altogether with the 2 boats. And we have a third boat if you are interested in salmon fishing on the inside of Vancouver Island out of either Campbell River or Courtenay. We got that on the go too this summer. All right, and that'll all be through Sarah. So there you go. If you inquired about fishing, now it is on. All right, first come, first serve in the emails. And she's going to go down that list this week, next few days. There you go. Also, this video is brought to you by ivermectin, healer of everything, proven to us. Pass that around. I got no problem saying it. Ivermectin is a standard item in our home and always will be. There you go. Read between the lines of that one. Now, what else? One more quick note. So I am getting a little concerned. And I'm going to be real angry if I can't travel to the U.S. I believe I will be able to in a couple weeks. So I can go see my dear friends, chase turkeys, have good times, meet new friends. And also be hunting with a friend of a friend who's apparently allegedly a real super dude. Been trying to hook us up in the woods hunting together for a while now, and it looks like it's going to go down. And I know that would be with Rourke Denver. Rourke Denver. You can Google him up. Google Rourke up. My friend speaks really highly of him. So I can't wait to meet him and chuck shit at him and treat him like one of my buddies and have fun in the woods. It should be a good time. Because my friends are good at chucking shit. So I'd imagine he's going to be too. And I'm pretty good at it too. So anyway, looking forward to that. But I'll be really disappointed if they don't allow me south of the border because of the dog shit that's going on between our woke, corrupt, absolute woke, corrupt government and our neighbors. I hope that doesn't affect us. I saw an article yesterday or something. There's some free library right on the border somewhere along the Canadian border. I don't think it's back east, and something just came up that the Americans aren't letting Canadians use the free library anymore on their side of the border. I don't know. Just a bunch of dog shit. I really sincerely hope it has no effect on my traveling to see all of my friends, my loved friends, next to me in the United States, which I have absolute respect for. Always will. Now, that's all my babbling. Let's get into this, shall we? Good fun readers. I found this little nasty pair in the shop. A little scratched up, but they're going to work. And now this email is titled Friends Behind You on March 19th. I hope you can make them out. They were moving. As I was zoomed at 500%. Navy Mike from Bardstown, Kentucky, USA. You're welcome here anytime. Appreciate that, Mike. Appreciate that offer, man. Screenshot 2025, March 19th at 22-09-11. Terrified What? Terrified in NC, couple see huge being looking in window at them, and I take you all to the woods today. So that's recent. Oh, so that's the other day when I went fishing with Ruby, sitting up against a tree, and you saw something behind us. Looks like it could be. I'll share it on here anyway. Am I overly concerned? No, not me. That's just me. Not me, because I know something has been near me numerous times while I do this in the woods, and like you all know, I don't intentionally go to these beings, these people. I intentionally go to the same forest to do what I love to do in those forests, with my intentions publicly shared, with my intentions shared out loud. So, I mean, a couple times I felt kind of unnerved, real close to here, and I've left. I've seen one of these people. I'm 110% certain of it last winter. As the crow flies from where I read this, I've probably seen that huge charcoal black gray stump in the clear cut, which I showed in a couple videos ago with the X on top. And you can see how there's nothing on the ground there. There's no mistaking anything. It was there. And now it's gone. So anyway, who knows? Maybe this is. Maybe it isn't. Interesting for some here, I'm certain. There you go. Shared. You know, it's funny with the years, what I have had caught on video, there was definitely 2 different UFOs without a doubt caught on video behind me while sharing in the mountains and the coast. Things have been thrown at me 2 or 3 different times on here without a doubt. So I've definitely had some shit go on around me. They know what I'm doing. They know what I'm doing. Now, what do we got here? All right, here we go. This next email is recent and is titled, My Never-Ending Story. Hi, Steve. I hope this finds you in top shape. This might get long, but decided after following you for a couple of years to finally send it. My name is Tissy. I have the blood of chiefs flowing in my veins due to my grandmother and mother, both native descendants. My grandmother was born in Pincher Creek, Canada, and my mom in Calgary, Canada. I think it's time to share. I'll start with me riding a bus home from school. This happened in Washington State, the western side. I was 15, 16 years old, and sitting next to me was my best friend. She nudged me with her elbow, points out the window and said, "What the hell is that?" I turned to look, and about 300 yards along a pasture tree line, this tall, big, hairy guy was walking, swaying arms and moving fast. Then turns into the tree line and is gone. It had to be 1971 or 72. I don't want to say where because they need to be left alone. Steve, they are real. Oh, I know. Now fast forward 50-some years. This same friend comes to visit me in Hawaii. We remained friends through the years. This is May of 2024. We're sitting in my TV room and she says, "Why didn't we tell anyone what we saw?" And I said, "Told what?" She said, about the Bigfoot we saw. Steve, I was stunned. I shoved that whole encounter deep in my psyche, not to surface. I told her, I don't know. Maybe because if my dad knew there was a hairy naked giant running around our country area, I'd never get out of the yard. And we laughed. The same year, 71, 72, summertime, same Washington area. 16, 17 years old, I hiked down to our creek that ran through our land. I took up my shoes and was standing in the mud. In the summer, the creek would come low and lots of mud. While I was mud bogging, I could see bushes moving about 30 feet from me. Then my sixth sense said, "Wake up." Then this weird gurgle grunt sound came from the bushes. I remember my dad saying, "Assess the area, not run. You don't want to become prey." So I backed up slowly, facing the creek and bushes, backing up the incline I came down, knowing I gotta go. Then in my head, a command came to run now. I turned and booked it. Up that hill, heading for the house, maybe about 200 yards from where I was. I could see my dad standing in the yard watching me haul butt towards him, and he asked, "What's wrong? And where are your shoes?" I told him there's something at the creek, and he could tell I was scared. I was told to stay back, and he went to grab his gun, and I watched him go down to the creek, and 30 minutes later, he's back with my shoes. I was interrogated to who was with me. No one, only me. He restricted me from the creek, and I heard him tell my mom there were 2 sets of prints, small ones, mine, and some very large ones, never to be mentioned again. Steve, I know they're real. Something is out there. I'm a Christian woman, and I'm praying it's not the Nephilim. I've always thought they were a long secret forest people culture. Maybe you meant long sacred forest people culture. They've been in my childhood area for a very long time. I've had many encounters, and my little brother has been tagged. I have video he took, and they know who he is. He moved to Idaho. They are all over Idaho. Every time I go back to Washington, they know I'm there, and I know they're around. Let me go back on that again. I have video he took. What's that of? What's the video of? I came from a very active hunting and fishing family. We did not eat store-bought meat until I was 15 years old. My dad provided, and we ate what he put on the table. I'm old now, 69 years young. I'm an active horsewoman and cattle ranch with my Hawaiian husband, and I feel tagged when I go back. Okay, hold on. Something private here. That is the end of the email from this very kind lady. Yeah, right on the same page too, and without a doubt. Yeah, you mentioned your brother has video, or you have video. You know what that's gonna do to the audience? They're gonna be like yanking their hair out at the roots, screaming, "Where's the video? Why tell us there's a video and not share the video?" There you go. I know they're screaming it. If you feel like sharing it, feel free. If not, that's okay too with me. But he kind of left us hanging there. He's got video. Video what? But anyway. Welcome aboard. Really appreciate you sending that email in. Who else? Okay, this is marked email him. It says from yesterday. What do we got here? Mark, this is red. Steve. Hello. I'm no one special, just a divorced single mother with literally a Bigfoot follower for about 2 years now. Whoa. My first encounter was November 2017. I was with my friends at the property that was adjacent to the National Forest here in Toledo, Ohio. They had a bonfire and we were sitting around talking, roasting marshmallows for s'mores, and enjoying a couple beers. The night was dark and chilly with clear skies. Her husband went inside briefly when suddenly their 3 horses became spooked and ran from the pasture into the barn. I asked what the heck spooked your horses. My friend said it happens sometimes. Who knows? Next, there was this sound from the tree near the campfire that I'll never be able to fully and with great detail describe. It was something that I have never heard before and have never experienced since. I can only describe as a song from a large ape. It totally freaked me out, and I asked, "What the heck was that?" My friend responded it was probably a bird. To that I said, "At 10 p.m. at night? I've never heard a bird call at night. It must have been the largest bird I've ever heard." She stated, "Yeah, we get some strange things so close to the forest. I could not see anything beyond the fire's glow, but was facing the tree the whole time. And as I left, I decided to take the back roads home, which traverses through the large metro park and near the forest, since I would only have stop signs, and I was alone. It was near midnight. I live approximately 8 miles away. I never thought of the encounter again until the last 6 months. I live alone and share custody of my son, so I have him home. I have him every other week. I started getting a very loud thud on my bedroom window every day that I slept in past my normal 6:30 wake time, like someone hit my window with a rock. The first time I jumped up and looked out to see nothing, but noticed that a branch was broken on my tree, and I knew there was no way that branch hit my window, and the piece was missing. It was not on the ground. I also noticed that my birch tree is missing bark from a large branch that faces my bathroom window, the only bare spot on the whole tree. Then I remembered my son finding a cleaned skull of a mouse on our front porch, and I found a feather that was wedged in the seam of our driveway and sticking straight up in the air, and another on my back patio the same way and at another time. I thought it very strange at the time, but it really didn't click that I had a Bigfoot until this encounter. Yeah, side note, the feather thing is very, very common, meaning bringing and leaving feathers inside vehicles, on porches and doors, all over. I forgot to take my garbage out to the curb. It was dark and probably around 11 p.m. I opened my garage door and walked the can down. And on my walk back up my short drive, I noticed my front porch light was out and how dark my front of my house was. And as I just entered my garage, I heard a huge thud, like someone jumped from my tree, and I heard large striding footsteps through the leaves. I was unable to identify which direction it was heading, so I immediately hit the button to my garage door and pulled my gun and had it pointed at whatever was coming. I was in stance and ready to fire. If it crossed my laser for the door, my garage door would reopen automatically. I knew it was huge with the sound of it hitting the ground. Nothing ever appeared. For this I was so thankful. The next day I found the huge, strange footprints from the jump under the tree. And at that point my research began and the pieces were coming together. I knew that I had a Bigfoot. And my next encounter was much closer. I let my dog out in the backyard, and since I do not have a fence, she's put on a leash. I opened the back patio door to the smell of garbage. At once, memories of having that smell flashed across my mind, and at all those times I assumed it was the neighbor's compost pile. So now, having the education of the smell, I was more aware of my situation and surroundings. I had my gun and decided to stay with my dog. My dog was looking at the side of my house, just staring. I looked over, and thanks to the neighbors for emptying their pool and the lights still on, because I was able to see it from the pool, backlighting behind it. I stood there and looked at it, and it looked at me. Then it gracefully and slowly backed out to its right and out of my sight behind the side of my home. My heart was racing after I entered the house, but at that time I was very calm and curious. But I did not move. It was bigger than the windows of my home and very muscular with dark hair. It could easily block out the light from my windows. I have floor-to-ceiling windows on my main living area. It made no sound. If you can hear voices, it's my neighbors talking over top of the excavator over the next pasture. All right? It's not a Sasquatch in the house. Just say it. Lately, the smell has been that of pine trees. And in the 6 years that I've lived in my home, never have I experienced the pine trees smelling so fresh. I'm assuming that the creature knows that I'm aware of his presence due to the odor, and it is now taking a different approach. Since this encounter, I've found and took a picture of hair dangling from my outside back door handle, as well as a greasy smudge mark on the window itself at the door handle. So it must have tried to open my door. I also hear it sometimes at night, croaking like a bullfrog. And 2 nights ago, my dog barked at it, and then it barked back twice, and was silent for the rest of the night. I've also heard screams like a bunny rabbit being hurt, and like a woman or a child crying. I've been noticing that my dog has begun to smell very deeply at my front door at certain times, on certain nights. Then she wants to be put outside and goes directly to the bushes like she's visiting a friend. I've also noticed that she has done this at my bedroom door at night a few times, so it's very possible that it has actually been in my home. I've noticed strange points of lights in my room, either red or bright white dots that seem to coincide with the visits of a Bigfoot. At first I assumed that a laser was pointing in my bedroom, but noticed that there was no physical way for the light to hit from a window. In an effort to stay on a good note with the creature, I've been leaving items like peanut butter jars with lids and beef jerky. The jar would come up missing for a couple of days and would be returned to my fire pit empty. Thanksgiving I left an apple pie and it was gone within 4 hours. The paper plate being left near the bushes. I've noticed that it only takes what it needs. I know the other animals are not getting into this because I put my metal fire pit cover on top of these items with a heavy brick to secure. It's a large cover and it would be difficult for a raccoon to remove. The items are being taken with the cover and being returned as I left it. I live in a suburb, and we have an apple orchard 1 mile away to the south, and a creek within a half a mile on both sides of the neighborhood. We have plenty of deer and open cornfields. In the last couple of weeks, my neighbors have been losing trees and had to cut them down. 4 on my west side and 1 on my right side. My 8 trees are still intact. My neighbors have also been installing cameras and the doorbell cameras. And I, for one, maybe being very naive, feel this creature may be protecting my son and I. It has had many opportunities to kill me over the last 2 years, and it has height, weight, speed, and sight advantages. With that being said, I still sleep with my loaded 9mm firearm with personal protection bullets that explode inside on impact. And I honestly pray that I'll never be required to hurt this creature. It'd break my heart to kill it. But if it attempts to harm me or my child, the battle will begin. I do not fear death. Right on. You my people. I've not reported anything because I just want to stay on good terms with it. We have coexisted for the last 2 years, and I don't wish to change the environment that we have established. Why does the movie King Kong keep coming up to my thoughts, LOL? This is my experience, and I hope others continue to communicate so that all of us can fully understand without fear what we are dealing with. End O email, and absolutely appreciated. And be safe out there. You know, there's a lot of people that do the gifting thing. Like my gifting, you hear the researchers saying, well, I've got my secret gifting area, and so-and-so was trying to steal my gifting area, and blah, blah, blah. Got people leaving food for them all the time, and some people don't, and some people say, don't leave them food. It's not going to end well. You've got the majority of the First Nations people who I trust saying, don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. You know? You got other people saying, oh no, we've got the best ones in our yard. They're our best friends. Nothing but love. That's all up to the individual, I believe. Right? It's going to be up to the individual in the end. But I think I believe we've had a few people report in about leaving food and then stopping. And then some real terrifying shit starts happening. So, I'm just saying, be cautious and be safe out there, alright? And email us anytime. Anytime you got something you want to share, please share away. And everybody else, take from what you will or leave it, right? Man, what are they talking about out there? Now, Squatchy is the title of this email. This is a Bigfoot event that I lived through. At least I believe it to be. I was in 4th grade living Belfair, Washington on a lake way out in the wilderness called Lake Wooten. We lived on the back side of the lake, and at the time my grandparents were the second house on the lake. I lived in our second house, our newer house, on the lake with my parents. One day I was alone to catch the bus. I was the first and last kid off the bus. It was almost an hour bus ride to and from school. Dark, rainy, and I was waiting for the bus in my bus tree fort my dad made. But I could hear something huge breathing. It started to scare me, so I climbed onto the roof of this fort my dad made. It was just a floor with a roof between the 2 trees about 5 feet above the ground. So I was so scared, I pulled myself up onto the roof, and it was pitch dark out. And salal bushes, 8 feet tall. So anything could be right next to me, and was. I could hear it breathing for about 3 minutes. Then I could hear the bus coming. And oh my God, I was so freaking glad to see that bus. And Mr. Griffin, the huge bus driver. I didn't tell anyone about it. But I went to the library and I read at the time all 3 books on Bigfoot at the Belfair Public Library back in 1982. I read them. I read them all. I did book reports on them. I was so interested in what I heard that day, it made me want to know more. And later in life, when I was older, I hunted deer, elk, bear, and cougar. I even researched bears and other big game breathing habits and abilities. But whatever I couldn't see, but could hear breathing, had a very huge lung capacity. I've heard bears breathing right next to me, and never were their breaths so big. And to think I could hear it breathe. How close could it have been? Within 20 feet is my guess. We had 3 waterfront lots with 5 acres across the road behind the lake, and it was on the back side of the lake. Behind that was hundreds of acres. Shrubs 8 feet tall and thick. You can disappear 3 feet in them. I don't know exactly what I heard, but I have ruled out what it could not be in this territory. I was a happy, peaceful kid and was in the 4th grade, but I have never forgot that day. The odd thing is, looking back on it now, was I don't think I ever heard about Bigfoot until then. But I remember there only being 3 books on it then. Did a Bigfoot just watch me be scared? Was it trying to get me and the bus? And the bus came? Did it watch me struggle to pull myself up onto the roof of my tree fort, the bus shed? I don't remember a smell. It was pouring rain, though. It was probably a good thing I didn't have a flashlight like I always carry now, because I would have seen something and been more scared, I think. At least I only fear its breathing today, lol. I say that jokingly, but I don't really need to hear it again. I still go out in the woods. I still go out at night, but I am more aware. Let me tell you. I went camping just this last summer, and I'm 49 now. And my lady wanted to camp in this crappy spot, and it was late. So we get there, and I don't like it at all. Ambush city, game trails all over. Just made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Creepy. But happy wife, happy life, so we pitched that tent. I'm gathering firewood on all the game trails that cross right where we camped at. And to top it off, not a sound, nothing. No birds, no frogs, just eerie silence. That's when you know something's wrong. When in nature, and you don't hear any, something's wrong. I didn't sleep at all that night. Man, that was a creepy spot. Canyon Creek Road, Mount Baker Highway. As soon as you say Mount Baker, it's like, there you go. There's a new Bigfoot adventure bus you can take in Bellingham, Washington now. They take you out at night to the hot spots to catch a glimpse of Bigfoot. I grew up out in the sticks, far from others. I played in the woods alone when younger. I've camped in very remote places. I've hunted most big game. I respect nature and what it has to offer. Why are Bigfoots here? They are here, but why? Why do they hide out? I don't get that part of our own government acknowledge them. I don't get that part. Our own government acknowledged them. They are in the DNR handbook in Washington State. Every park ranger knows of them. Are they here to eat bears? Humans? Just seems odd to why they would want to live like this for decades now. They supposedly eat their dead. Huh? First I heard of that one. I've read that they bury their dead under trees or bones go into lakes. I've read that they push over a tree and bury their bones under that tree. And all I know for certain is, ever since that day, I've been intrigued with Bigfoot. I used to go out my 4x4 and sit out on mountaintop Sasquatching when there was a good weather for it. If I ever saw one, I would try communication with food offerings. Give them a Slim Jim, lol. Beef jerky, lol. I hear they like chocolate. Who doesn't? I definitely have a curiosity about the Sasquatches, and plan to make it a goal to find out why they're here. Do they eat animals and even the field? What is a Bigfoot predator? How much food do they need to survive? Imagine 300 Bigfoots per state on the West Coast, plus siblings since the first sighting in 1968. They have to put a dent in our deer and elk population. I don't hunt anymore. That is my story. All right. Roger, got it, and share it. All right. Sounds like we got some machinery working next door. We're going to have to work along right-sided, okay? No big deal. I'm sure you guys can hear me. I'll mark this as red. Here we go. Interesting and terrifying encounters, the title of this email. I've been debating telling you this story for a while and have been reluctant for some clear reasons you will see. To start why, my name is John George, and I'm a 46-year-old truck driver and love the outdoors and hunting and fishing. My father was a part-time, hobby, game guide and former hunter safety instructor. So I spent many, many, many hours in the woods of New Mexico growing up. And that's just a little of my backstory. I'll leave it at that. Well, here's the strange experience I had in the Cochise Stronghold in the Dragoon Mountains of southeast Arizona off of Highway 191, the old 666. I was 26 years old, and my friend Lam or I-A-M was celebrating his 26th birthday, so we figured a camping trip would be nice. You might have meant Ian. I don't know. Sorry. So we packed up and headed up into the stronghold. Well, we got there just in time to get a fire started and sit back and pop open a beer or two, but from the very start, it just didn't feel right. We neither said it, but you could tell we both felt it. So, after an hour or two, Ian just says, "Hey, I'm not feeling it tonight. Let's head back down the mountain. We can always come back up in the morning and still go for a hike." He got no arguments from me, so that's what we did. Well, the next morning we drive back up right at daylight and climb up to a cave the Native Americans used to use before they were hunted and removed from this land, in a very sad chapter of American history. Missing some punctuation, okay? But I got it. We climb in and get settled in to watch the sun come up and hopefully see some deer rummaging around the forest floor, some 50 feet or so below us. But we get lost in conversation and stop paying attention to our surroundings. And about 20 minutes go by, and we hear the most ear-splitting, high-pitched voice echo through the cave entrance and out through the valley saying, "Help me!" Whoa. We both instantly looked down to where it came from, and there at the edge of the forest is this little girl about 8-ish, in jeans and a t-shirt, staring up at us, and she says it again, "Help me!" But her voice, man, there was something way off about her voice. And about that time, a very large man dressed normal just kind of sidesteps into view from about 10 feet behind her. And my first instinct is to jump up and rush headfirst down the mountainside to save her. But Ian grabs my arm super hard as I try to bolt towards her, and he says, "John, look at her eyes." And instantly I realize that they look like giant black marbles in her sockets. Mind you, 20 years ago, nobody heard about black-eyed children, but that's damn well what we were looking at. It was wrong. All of this was wrong. And we both instantly turned and ran sideways across the mountain away from these creepy people trying to lure us to them. That's like a frickin' Stephen King movie, isn't it? Well, after we got winded and started walking and felt we had enough distance and time between us and them, we talked just a little about it and decided to just check it up to two weirdos in the woods. So we headed over to a small stream where we knew there was a little waterfall and a game trail just below it, in hopes to get to see some deer after all. We climb up this little waterfall and sit down and start talking in hushed whispers about nothing in particular. We had already all but forgot about the weirdos when all of a sudden, the loudest growl I've ever heard, a growl / roar. It sounded exactly like when the Harrier jumper jet would take off at the air show when I was a kid. It's absolutely deafening. Holy shit. Then slowly calmed down to a noise akin to a cat purr, but 1,000 times deeper and louder. It startled us so bad, Ian fell off the waterfall into the stream below. Thankfully, it was only a 3-foot drop, and he looks at me wide-eyed and asked, "What the F was that?" Me not wanting to freak him out, I just said, "It's just a mountain lion. We're interrupting his breakfast. Let's slowly move upstream away from the game trail." I knew damn well that was no big cat. No way in hell was it a cat. But figured I was probably still right about the game trail, so off we went, headed straight up the mountainside. And after about 30 minutes, we stopped for a breather at another small waterfall. We just get sat down, and Ian asked me if I think we're safe. And I smiled and said, "Sure. We just need to get away from that game trail." And just as we both kind of start to relax, the same damn thing happens again. This time, it was every man for himself. Full belt run down the mountain, neither stopping till we got to my truck. I don't know if it was a Bigfoot or a dog man or just an angry Native American spirits, but that kid was creepy. And I think she wasn't human and had everything to do with what happened. I'm covered in goosebumps just remembering it. I'm not sure if it fits your platform, and it's long-winded for sure, but if you'd like to share my story and my name, I doubt Ian cares if you use his too. Holy shit! John George, holy shit! Yeah, the black-eyed kid thing, I haven't looked into myself, but I've heard a lot of people mention it. Right? I think it's mentioned. I mentioned here in the past, and I think I had somebody tell me it's a real deal thing. What the hell's up with that? Like, we don't have enough to try to figure out, right? Let's just toss some black-eyed kids in there. Some black-eyed demon kids. Shit. And a quick note, I'm going to give you guys a quick note on the game trail thing, all right? And this is an important thing that I always try to tell people in the past when I'm in the woods, is if you're going to go camping, stop for a break, have a picnic, but more so camping with a tent. This is what I don't do. You never, ever put your tent on a game trail. Ever. Never. Right? And also, if you have the choice, if you are in a mountainous area or any kind of land that slopes at all, hills, I don't give a shit, whatever it is, you got some downhill slope. Cools down, warms up. Never forget that ever in the woods. Cools down, warms up. Those are the two different directions of the air as a rule. All right, warms up, thermals, that wind rips uphill. Gets cold, all of a sudden the wind changes, starts dropping. If there's no wind, no breeze, doesn't matter. That cold air starts dropping. I've had to wait for that air change, I don't know how many times, so I can continue my stalk up a mountain after sheep or whatever. Knowing that, you're on a hiking trail and a game trail, I don't give a shit where you are, and it's time to throw out and make camp, you always make it on the downhill side of the trail. Okay? Don't forget that one and pass it on. It's a very, very, very important rule. You always make camp on the low side of the trail. Okay? No matter what. That's got to be rule number 1 when you're trying to find somewhere to camp. Always. Why? Because at nighttime when the air current's dropping, whatever traffic is on that game trail up there, it's going to walk right by you. Natural predators, that is. I'm not talking about any kind of potential being that can sense your presence or know your thoughts or whatever, but I'm just letting you know that one. That's very, very important. You always camp on the low side of any game trail. Always. Okay? And here's an example of what happened when you camp on the trail. Some guys here in British Columbia not too long ago, they had a bunch of interviews and shared their shit on the hunting forum we used to be on. These guys camped right on the frickin' trail. Next thing you know, there's a sow and I think a 3-year-old or 2 3-year-old cubs Marched down the trail, saw the tent. Oh, what's in this bubble? Started hammering on the tent. Something's moving in it, and started shredding these guys up. Okay, there you go. I got video actually of, well, that bear. Who knows? But I have video. I think I've shown that video in one of my openers. Maybe it took me a while to dig it out, but there was 3 of us, 3 tents, because I never ever share a tent either. Never, unless it's Sarah. But I don't share tents with hunting partners or guiding. And we were in the bottom of the valley, and we made sure that we camped right next to the water, the creek, for the night, because the game trail was right through that grass. Sure enough, I videotaped it. Here's this massive grizzly bear. Dunk, went right down that game trail, probably 12 feet behind our tents, I think. So there, I had to throw that in there. And I appreciate that email. Sorry, I appreciate you sending that email big time too, by the way. Thank you so much. Okay, what else? Recent. Mark this is red. Must listen. Bobby Shorts 2 video. Alright, I'm going to have to go and find this email because I just clicked on the 3 links right here. Oh, no, hold on a minute. Oh, there. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay. Must listen. Bobby Shorts 2 video. Okay, there's no links in anywhere here in that for a Bobby Short video. But you did share. Here's what I saw in the trees at the beginning of that video. Oh, it's the title of the video? Must listen. Bobby Shorts 2 video? Is that a title? Here's what I saw in the trees at the beginning of that video. Kind of scary. Thanks, Eric Shippert. And I am the rock star of the world famous drumstick collection. No shit. And I got a link here. And, holy shit. The world's largest drumstick collection. You've been Rolling Stone magazine. That's crazy. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't have a clue. But there you go. The owner of the world famous drumstick collection follows the channel and emailed some screenshots of what he believes. Oh yeah, I was there. Yeah, of course I was there. Yeah, actually, I stopped dead. I had that's back on the coast. I had my Canon camera on a tripod facing me a fair distance away with an audio recorder at my feet. And this is in the beginning, you know, the video where I'm standing on top of that hill and those epic mountains are behind me. That's right there on that hump. And I always have a Sony. I always got 2 or 3 video cameras, and I knew I could just feel something staring at me from the timber. And I scanned that timber. And that's exactly, it looks like you highlighted these items. But yeah, remember that. I'll share those for anybody who's curious. Definitely remember that day, and sadly, do you remember those 2 native guys that died? Mushroom picking? Well, they started right there, and they just went over the hill from there, and that's where they died, unfortunately. And it wasn't Sasquatch related. They got disoriented in a snow blizzard, whatever. They got wet. They got wet, stuck on the mountain, they died. Very unfortunate. Yeah. Yeah, lots goes on right there in that forest. Thanks for the share, man. Drumstick collection. Crazy. Now, what else? Man, I had to tell you guys something else. Oh, here's other semi-big news. Now, listen to this. So, Sarah has agreed. She is going to... So, I am going to take all of my people in my notes here that I marked as look into, which for me means get a hold of them to see if they want to talk about what they know, what they saw. And I will extract all of the email addresses and the names from my notes, and I'm going to send it to her, and she's going to line it up. All right? She's going to email you, and she's going to figure out the time, and then we're going to hit it. Because I obviously suck at this. I suck at it because I'm too damn busy, and I need help, and she's going to do that. So I don't know what email she's going to email you with, but she's going to email you. So check your Well, I can't say who yet. Haven't a clue. But I'm just, that's just a, I'm all rest. I'm ready to fall over. I'm so tired right now. That's what's going to go down. All right, you guys. Whoever you get the email from, you think it might be an odd email. It's coming from Sarah, and it's to get you on here with me. That's what's happening. All right, she is doing it. There you go. So we're going to have more of that on here. All right, you guys. More of that on here soon. What else? I think that's it. I think if I got to get ripping, we got a lot of stuff we're getting caught up in here. Now she's home, and I have to go whip up some elk burgers for her. It was her birthday the other day when she was back east, and she wants an ice cream cake, so I got to go get one of those. I think that's it. I think, damn it, there's something else. I got the ivermectin. I'll be pushing that non-stop. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That shit heals all. You better get a hold of it too. They're gonna try to drop some kind of bird flu on our asses next, and it should. Everybody needs a red flag when they are calling it, like forecasting it. Just so you know, we got a pandemic coming up. Okay, thanks for the heads up, you kind, caring people, motherfuckers. Right. During the last episode, whatever they decided to do to the people, they stopped all access to ivermectin. All right? These are the enemies. These people, these monsters are the enemies. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I know that is fact for me. And I also know for fact this award-winning drug, the ivermectin, you need to stock up on it. All right? It seems to be curing frickin' everything. Anyway, I think I gave that little spiel a couple days ago, didn't I? So there you go. Share my story at howtohunt.com. Email me, get your shit out, all right? Get your truth out, get the knowledge out. It's going to help somebody. Whether you think it is or not, you might not know that for certain yourself, but it just might help somebody else. Or it might help you too, right? Get that to me. Salmon or halibut or both is bookit at howtohunt.com. All right, for this summer. That'll be from, I think, May, June, July, August, and not me, but maybe somebody else can fit you in some first 2 weeks of September. All right, so you got May, June, July, August, first 2 weeks of September. You can get salmon, halibut done with or through us. Okay, at bookit at howtohunt.com. There you go. I gotta go. See you tomorrow. Wow. I'm on top of the world now.